everybody, and welcome to today's special edition Iya Zayazala. Panon Power TV mletambira pa DStv channel 278, GOtv channel 19, Ishinari and Nebo Su Save and Venture Chigero Chaku Kopala. And on today's episode, that we are on the move, but we're going to a very special and very important office, Mo Government, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Art. And on today's conversation, my guest is somebody who made a huge transition and the story of motivation from being a thought-provoking artist through his lyrics, a political activist, to taking up public office and becoming permanent secretary. Pilato is going to be my guest on today's episode, or if you'd like, Mr. Fumbachama, who we're going to talk to about social media monetization, policies under the ministry, na the creative space. So if you're a creative, not yet no musician, you need to stay locked for this conversation and chime in and join us on social media and follow Power TV Zambia, Facebook, Instagram, X. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow Power TV Zambia. Otherwise, we're taking you back in time, 12 years ago, when Pilato released this particular hit. It's titled Ichashishita. On the other side, we're going to get into the conversation. Muchimunzi Nizi. Welcome back. In case you're just tuning in, you're still watching Zayazala Panon Power TV, and you can tell that it's a special because my background and my set looks very different. Joining me right now is a man whose story is super inspirational. Motivated. I hope his journey gets to inspire you to be better. From being a political activist, social commentator, artist, 2021, his journey and story changed when he entered office and became permanent secretary of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fumbachama, also known as Pilato.
Pilato. That's how you pronounce my name. It's not Pilato. It's Pilato.
Back to interview. But you know what I was joking about when we got here and how it just feels very, very serious.
Of course.
It has to be.
It's a serious space.
You know, I was like, I'm going to forget, but thank you so much for hosting us.
We're happy that you came through. We're happy that you found time. And also extending this opportunity for us to engage and share ideas and thoughts. Thank you.
Yes. You know something you're very consistent with is the art.
Of course.
I was doing my research, so I was going through a couple of things. I was like, okay, the Ngoma Awards signature hats that you wear almost every time.
Yeah, because I think you need to also understand that Ngoma Awards is a brand, and we as a ministry feel responsible for its promotion. So we would like to promote it.
Yeah.
Did you attend the last year's Ngoma?
I did.
Of course. I was going to be surprised if you did.
I'm very in the arts.
Why change it now? Why change it? Of course.
Thank you so much. I'm going to take you back in time. Okay, because when I look at your story, it's one that's very inspiring. A lot of people might be meeting you now, office, and they meet you and they see you and they think you're, not that you're not a serious man, but you are very multifaceted. Like, so I'll take you back because start of the show, we played a music video of yours and a song of yours, Ichashishita.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. 12 years ago. Do you believe it's been that long?
I think I do. Because I had a six-pack then. And I have a pot belly now. So I think I do. I think it's 12 years is enough for a six-pack to disappear.
I see. What does that time remind you of? Just as a person, the space you were in, what was going on in your life?
I'm very good at imagining the future and forgetting the past. So nothing. I don't think I remember much. But I think there's been a lot of growth. I can tell you a lot of stuff about the future than I can tell you about the past.
Than the past. Okay, serious. So you and I are going to play a little icebreaker game. I'm going to ask you random questions.
Okay.
A lot of people would like to know, maybe away from your work, you being Fumbachama, away from everything else, like what kind of person you are, how you function and what you get up to. So I'm going to ask you 10 random questions. So I'm not giving you much time to think about them. I've got 5 seconds. So.
But if you know, what more?
No, I'm pretty sure so we're gonna go into it. So the first question, what is your pick-me-up song? Like when you're just feeling a little out of yourself, good if you're but you're not feeling yourself. Like, what's that song that you go to?
I have a lot of songs that I do vibe to that gives me a lot of energy. But I'll give you one. I think it's a T-Lo song called Iching.
Okay.
I think that
That's
song.
an interesting pick.
Yeah, I think that song has a way of, and I've confessed this to Tilo himself that this song, if my life was to be a movie at some point, I think that would be some sort of a theme song for it.
I was going to ask you that. I think also answer nice in first.
Yeah,
That would be
so
the theme song.
It's to be like I think it's a very beautiful song, and I find myself in it a lot.
Okay. Second question. That's your theme song for your entire life, but what was your 2024 theme song? Remember from 2024 where you felt like,
Serious? 2024? I had a lot of songs. A lot of them. I'll give you probably, can I mention two?
Yes, we can take two.
One was, I think, Your Maps is So Money. I think it's a brilliant song. The second one was by an artist called Ben Platt. It's called We Grow As We Go.
Interesting picks of songs. Okay, third question. Which artist of 2024 created an album that you felt you resonated with most?
I don't listen to albums, by the way. I listen to songs.
You listen to songs?
Yeah.
But whose music was on your playlist more consistently?
All of them. So I'll tell you what the challenge has been for me, especially being in this office, is that I feel responsible to support every artist. Yeah. And so sometimes I find myself listening to one song the whole day and feel guilty that I've not paid attention to.
Yeah.
So because of duty, I listened to all the albums, and because I want to also be able to identify opportunities for most of our artists. So when people come through this office, I want to be able to say, aha, there is this artist that is doing this. There is this artist that is doing this. I'll give you an example. There's an artist called Cactus. He's done a lot of good music on climate change. And when people come through this office, I want to mention it, that all artists are doing stuff like this within this particular theme and sector. So I listen to all of them. And I think we are doing an excellent job in terms of music production, creativity, and all of that.
Yeah.
I would say I didn't listen to albums, I listened to beautiful songs.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Pabachi can affect around for Bambara room. And then people feel left out. Yeah. And your next one, I just want to know, you work a lot, your job has got so much duty and responsibility. But when it's time for you to want to grab a meal, what's that meal that you feel like, oh, if anything, this is my favorite local meal?
I think if you ask the question by the entrance there, they will tell you this guy loves dry fish.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know how this happened, but I think dry fish does the magic. So I've had Shima from this office from Monday to Saturday with dry fish.
Every day?
Yes. And sometimes I ask myself, maybe, but I think it's my favorite dish.
Okay, and the next question. So I want to know, locally, what team do you support when it comes to football?
Supporter Wankana. Yes. Supporter Wankana. Everyone support.
Interesting. The English Premier League is currently on. What team do you support?
I don't support a team. I support Mourinho.
So why
So I support Jose Mourinho. And because I'll tell you what, I think I struggle to support one team unconditionally. I think I want to support a team because they're doing something I like. And because football can be a little tricky sometimes. So I choose to support an individual whose character I think is inspiring and also challenging. So I support Mourinho because his character is consistent. I can relate to that. If you are a big man, good time before man young balusa, big bayanga team yako big bayanga balusa disnefuto balusa. But the idea is that I struggle. I don't believe in unconditional stuff. I believe in conditional issues because I think sustainability and motivation lies in the conditions that push something to happen.
Okay. So the seventh one, when you're not in office, you're not working, you're off duty, what do you like to do?
That's a difficult question. I used to walk a lot, and now I don't walk a lot. So I sleep a lot. I try to sleep as much as I can. Whenever I can, also take a drive. I do take a drive. But I think I like sleeping. I think sleep is the second home for me.
What do you do for fun? I sleep. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 options. And I know that in your current job right now, most of you have to be dressed in a certain way. So the options I'm going to give you is... It's with judgment. It's without judgment. So, Apa, what would you rather? So wear sneakers. And this is for the rest of your life, like if you had a choice. Wear sneakers the rest of your life. Be dressed in a suit for the rest of your life. I
don't think I like shoes that much. I think I like my feet without shoes. Yeah.
Are you one of those people that believe that in Gorenda Namakasa you connect with nature?
Just that I think I like the convenience that I get without shoes. If given a chance, I would be happy to walk in here without shoes.
I think that would be very interesting. Everybody would be very shocked.
But I think I like my feet without shoes.
Okay, so your 8th one, Apa, what has been your favorite place to visit when you're not working?
Sleep.
But I'm
telling you.
I
like going to Ndola, but I don't go there that much. Yeah. But so Ndola for me is, but I don't go there as much. So I sleep.
What do you like to do when you go to Ndola?
I go to the studio. I go to Alpha Studios and try to record. And sometimes I go to Ndeke to see my old house where we used to stay and live. So I come back and go to the studio and then go to sleep and then come back to the set.
So we have some songs in the somewhere.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Are we going to get a chance to listen to these songs?
We need to pray about it.
To pray about. Listen, prayer and fasting this year, one of our prayer points should be that we get a song.
Yes. Okay. I do have some music stuck somewhere.
Okay. I know that you read a lot. You speak about how you like to read because there's a lot of knowledge.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
Where?
I was doing my research. In a lot of interviews, you say that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What book are you currently reading?
Can I show you?
Yes.
That's okay, I'm gonna show you what I've read whilst I've been here. Not that I read a lot, but I think I like the confusion that comes with a lot of. Oh my goodness! Oh, not the nice things to see.
Dang, Gayo.
Not much.
Not much.
Yo. Not much. But I think it's. I think I've read one of them.
All of them? Okay.
I have read all of them, but I can't remember anything that I've read in all of this. So this is what I'm reading now. Boring stuff.
Why is this boring?
It's I think it's a lot of confusing stuff. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So from reading books and also interacting with a lot of individuals,
yes.
What's the greatest piece of advice you've ever received? And who was it from?
So I got this from my father. And he didn't sit me down to tell me this. I think he was beating me when he was telling me this.
He was beating you?
Yes. So he told me, respect people, respect God, respect the environment.
What did you do?
I failed my grade 12, my grade 7, and then I called a friend of mine that did well some names.
That person.
So I had a friend. Then we were playing, and then I think that was my mock exams in grade 7. Then he did well, I didn't. And then when we went home, so apparently we got the results ourselves. So when we got home, I told my father, because I didn't do well, I told my father that we were not given results. Then the chap showed up and said, yeah, we got them and I passed. Yo, so then I got so upset. And I called him a lot of good names. And I was beaten, and I was told, respect people, respect the environment, respect God. Respect people, not for who they are, but for who created them.
That's deep.
Yeah, but he was beating me, so like,
he was, but
yeah.
You see, that's very interesting, because that's the thing that sticks the most. Because you would have sat you down several times, going like, but in that moment,
that's not the type of fathers. Yes.
It could be very different.
Oh, that one should have been in the army. Yeah. But I think that for me that has stuck. And now with climate change, now with all this human responsibility towards climate change, I think for me it makes me understand and appreciate what he was saying. Because if you love people, if you love the environment, you easily love God.
Yeah. Okay. So I was trying to look up some things that you've done or interviews that you've said during my research, and I come across a very interesting piece on YouTube, and it's a TEDx talks that you did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do monkeys love trees?
No, they don't.
No, if I should say so myself, I think it's very timeless in what you spoke. And I was just like, your mind is very interesting in how you've brought out things over the years, how you speak, even when you refer back to certain things that you could have said, still it's something that can be applicable to now. So I just wanted to ask, you've transitioned a lot from being an artist, or from being somebody who was looking at certain issues from the outside looking in, and now you're sort of in the inside looking out. You still share the same sentiments?
Yes, I do. First of all, I think I must mention that, the way society and systems of society have been designed have been such that there has to be perspectives, and these perspectives must be informed by what people are seeing and experience, right?
Yeah.
So from whichever perspective or position you stand, you have a perspective that will see something from your angle. I think much of the stuff that I've said and believed in, I still believe in them now. And changing positions only empowers me, because now I can see things from a different perspective, but also reconcile with what I used to see from the other angle. I think I do. I think I do. And I still believe that monkeys don't love trees. Okay,
so we're going to take a break. This is going to be a musical break, and the song that we're about to play is As Chosen by Pilato. I'm still learning.
Pilato.
What he said. It's your choice of song. So this is Mumbayachi with Urwendo Lwamfu.
Yes.
Talk to me about this song. Why do you like it?
I don't think I have a good reason, but I think it's a good story told with very good melody. I think it's a story. It's an artist narrating their story. And apparently by the time that Mumba was working on this song, I think we were discussing or sharing some thoughts about other things to do with life. So we needed this song, I felt, part of representing the story and what he was narrating. So I think it's a brilliant story told.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to get into the conversation of the National Arts Center that is to be set up. Also, the conversation here, we've been talking about monetization. I think he's going to be in a very good position to speak to me about things like that and a lot more policies that the ministry is working on. So do keep it power. Don't change the channel.
Nizi.
The man changed office but did not change his personality. Ku background but you know what? He listens to music too. So there's Power TV in the background.
Of course. Of course. And it's my favorite deal.
Chandlanake.
Chandlanake. Lago big man program ni last wakam.
Questions, so please feel free to be a part of the family or ask questions via our social media platforms, Power TV Zambia, across the board. Before the outbreak, I wanted us to get into the conversation of the National Arts Center.
Yes.
And I understand that the government had unveiled the spot, you had a ceremony, and you did say it's going to be at Unza, and this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
So from somebody that creates arts, and also there's different sectors and different pillars within the creative space, talk to me about the vision of the Arts Center.
Thank you. So the National Arts Center for us is a response to the infrastructural challenges that exist within the creative sector. I must mention that the President, my minister, and the government in general commits itself to developing the creative sector, not just from a social sector, but into an economic sector. One of the basics for us to develop or transform this sector into an economic sector is the need for infrastructure. If you were to look through what we have, physical infrastructure for the arts, you realize that we don't have much. So what that means is that it reduces the opportunities or chances for artists to trade.
Yeah.
If you have a population of 300 theater artists within Lusaka, the question you ask yourself is, where can they go to trade? Where do they go and showcase their talents and stories and everything, and then let people pay? We don't have so many of those places. We have Lusaka as a Lusaka Playhouse as a private space, but it's in a very bad state.
We were driving past when we were coming, and I was, because I haven't been in quite a bit, and I was looking at it, I was like, something must be done.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So private artistic spaces are not as many as we would like them to be. So government recognizes that challenge. Hence now they drive to establish one arts center. But also for social cohesion, for people just to have some place of identity, some place of promoting who we are. This government recognizes and realizes the urgent need of a national arts center. So this National Arts Center is to be a center of excellency where we host the best of our artists, and that cuts across all the art disciplines.
Yeah.
We would like to have fashion stars, designers, we would like to have writers, music producers, music performers, writers, theater performers, and all of them in one place. The University of Zambia, working closely with the National Arts Council, we've secured about 2.5 hectares of land. And our commitment is that all these disciplines will be hosted there. And Zambians within Zambia and those that visit Zambia will have an opportunity to go to a place where they can pay the right price for an artistic product. Yeah. If you want to watch a Zambian movie, there'll be a place where there's going to be a Zambian movie every day.
That would actually be nice, because I understand that we've had a lot of production, because film is also another sector that's really grown, and we've seen them put in a lot of effort. But screening, and then that's it. Like we don't have platforms where we can access this.
So the National Arts Center is going to be that place where artists will have a venue for their artist products. And again, like I said, this is for us to maximize the economic benefits, but also for cultural growth and celebration of who we are as a country. So that particular facility is a response to the infrastructural challenges that we have within the sector. But that's not the end. So what we're also doing is that we want to rehabilitate some of the existing infrastructure. You mentioned of the soccer playhouse. So the government this year, as I speak to you, there is an active advert calling for bids to respond and rehabilitate the soccer players. Finances set aside, and we're just going through the process of procurement to procure services of a contractor to respond and to start working on that. But that's not all. We've also engaged other international players to partner with us in responding to this particular challenge. So we have soccer players. We are also looking at Kitwe Little Theatre. We're also looking at Chingola Arts Society. We're also looking at the Livingstone National Museum.
Nice.
Not the National Gallery.
The National Gallery.
Yeah. So we are responding, and I think we are doing a good job.
Okay.
Kuirumba kwapo, kuirumba.
Abaso nacho no kubirumba bofu nacha fokola na no. Nderumba kwangaya nachikola.
Ngapani no tiongoma mwadisha kwa.
Alisha background uku, alisha kwa ngoma. But you know what, from creating centers where artists are able to display and also people are able to access what they create. Right now we're living in a global village.
Yes.
So there's been a conversation around Facebook monetization, also royalties that have to do with mainly artists, musicians here that get to make their music and how they can make money off of that. So this conversation has been there for quite a long time. So last year, we did see a presentation of that in Parliament, and it did go through for its first reading. So I just want to know what government is doing about that, because you've been a creative yourself before.
I'll tell you, before the issue was even brought before Parliament by Honorable Bino Mpundu, I think one of the things that we did engage in ourselves was to formulate what we call a task force. Because we had got in touch with Meta, and we were advised that they don't deal directly with government. So we went through a task force. But they did indicate a number of things that I think is not just upon governments to do, but I think they are things that government needs to do. And as I speak to you, we are engaged with Minister of Commerce, Minister of Finance, trying to put these things in place. And also I must mention the Office of the Vice President actively working on things that needs to be done by government. But you also need to understand that this is business. So it's not Meta or YouTube. They will not just give you money because you have more views. They are doing business, meaning it has to be determined by how much money are they making from that particular territory, right? You and I know how a small population we have that is actively, economically, and on social media, on these social media. Some of the things that we mentioned to us is that we don't have, they do not have what they call the metadata. If, for example, you were to do a video and put it on Facebook, somebody from Uganda can get your content and post it, and it will not be easy for whichever platform to locate that data and bring it to you. So there is not so much data with our product or with our online content, and our hope is that we can then begin to formalize some of these things. I've had conversations with some corps, I've conversations with ZASO, and we had colleagues from South Africa, from Aripo, I think it should be Aripo, I just can't remember but it should be Aripo. So, who expressed similar concerns that Zambian creative content does not have data or metadata attached to it. If I release a song today, it's just a song. And any publisher or royalty collector or collection management, copyright management entity will struggle to locate that particular, or even monitor its performance. So that's one of the challenges. Secondly, I had mentioned of the population, the buying population. It's for Meta to monetize a territory, they will need to first of all quantify how much do they make from trade, but also how much do they are they committing to spend. For example, if they are making $100,000 from Zambia, from those that are advertising, they cannot give 200,000. You see what I mean? So that's one thing. So we need to have more Zambian businesses advertising on this platform, but also have a sustainable amount of buying population. So if you put an advert on Meta, there should be sufficient number of people to buy from this, so that transaction should happen. And then if the promotion happened on your page, then they can share some with you. So now you need to realize that we are a country that needs also resources. So what that means is that if this is happening, instead of Power TV to get a lot of adverts, because Power TV may be are charging more than Meta, because Meta is not paying taxes to Zambia. They're not paying anything to the Zambian government, to Zambian corporates.
Yeah.
Power TV is paying rent, is paying workers, is paying other taxes, is paying NEMA. So what they may be charging for a 2-minute advert may not be similar to what Meta is paying. It's charging.
It's charging, yeah.
So a business person in Lusaka would prefer advertising
on Meta
and not on Power TV.
Yeah.
Do you know what that will do to your business?
Yes, I'm following.
It kills your business.
Yeah.
It kills your business. So government feels the responsibility to strike a balance. How do we make sure that these foreign nation or foreign or international or multinational entities do not kill our local businesses? There are a lot of businesses that might be taken or be squeezed out of business because of these unfavorable conditions or circumstances. So what the government is saying, yes, we want to do this. We want to do this. Like I said, we've got actions and processes that are very active at the moment.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to balance this. How do we protect the local businesses? How do we protect local establishments? It's very important for government. I think for government, the responsibility is to make sure that we grow our businesses, we grow our revenue collection base, that you and I have a job. And as much as we want to go to send money to Meta, would want money for all of us to share as a people. So those are things. So it's a very multi-dimensional conversation. But again, like I said, government is on track. We are engaging, and we are engaging at so many levels. So ZRA is involved, the Bank of Zambia is involved, my ministry is involved, the Ministry of Commerce is involved, Ministry of Finance is involved, and we have private players like ZASO, ZAMCOPS, National Arts Council. All of us are engaged to make sure that we get to a balance where we can say this is good for the country, but also good for our creatives. But also, this one is number guy. You know, waba Facebook wasanga abantu balifuula bati amala wati munga bamboko lyama.
No.
Okay. I don't continue.
That's a good question. That's a very good question, but I'm pretty sure we can find ways in making sure that there's measures put in place in what kind of content.
What do you think those measures would be?
I don't know, like just restrictions on just making sure. Obviously, we do have a restriction on people knowing that they can't put out certain material. But if you but you for example,
that would now compound the problem.
Yes.
So it's a multi-dimensional problem, and I think all of us need to sit down and agree on certain things. I don't think that I'll be one to call for more restrictions and all of that.
Yeah.
I would want a situation where all of us begin to look at these things from a
But
very
maybe for
balanced
starters, we could
perspective.
start with particular content. Like you're saying,
No, I wouldn't.
No, it's just just putting it out there. Just because I think particular content, so people would be inspired to maybe take a certain route in the kind of content that they
supposed to
put
decide
out.
all of that.
That's monetization.
It's not
It's very
government.
broad.
It won't be governments to tell you that this is the content to monetize. So when they monetize a region or a territory, right? It's based on the transactions, the business that is happening within that transaction. So if let's say they put an advert on your content and it generated enough, they will give you regardless of what you did, right?
So when they monetize region, then us now we have to amplify our laws. Under section shan subsection. I'm just saying, because I think if our focus mainly would be on the people that are going to negatively impact the space, it takes away from people that are genuinely creating and deserve to actually make money from it. And I like the fact that you touched base on how multidimensional it is, because there's somebody else who had raised that concern to say, okay, it's fine that this was presented in Parliament, but we much understand that way. But government monetize. So I'm glad that you've explained the angle of the advertising aspect that comes in when it comes to monetization.
There are a lot of examples I could give. There are a lot of examples that I could. So I'll give you an example. DStv has an office here, right? DStv is buying content from your local producers, right?
Yes.
DStv is paying for this content, and they're paying taxes and all of that.
Yeah.
Where is the Netflix office?
You see, I was going to get into that conversation with you because I think there's been a call for just not Netflix, but there's so many platforms that have been made available for us to access. But the question always is, why is it so difficult for us to get on the platforms? Because sometimes quality content
but I want you to understand. So the idea there is this. So these, you can't, even when you introduce certain regulations and laws, right? They've got to be future-proof to a certain extent. So when we speak of digital platforms, from a layman's perspective, we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about TikTok, right? But from a policy perspective, you need to have an encompassing approach, because tomorrow that's going to be the case. If we as government do not take the responsibility or do not approach this particular challenge with responsibility, we'll end up killing the local economy for the good of other economies.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say, right? Because you spoke of the film industry. The growth of the film industry has happened because of partners like we pointing to. If tomorrow we said, let's, and then Netflix mops everything from the economy, it means that we'll lose Mpali, we'll lose Zizua, and we'll now be competing with highly advanced industries on the continent like Nigeria, South Africa, to send content to America for it to be accessed by people here. We'll be disadvantaging ourselves. So it's a multi-dimensional issue that requires participation from across sectors for us to get to a balance. I would want to monetize my page. I would want to make money from my page.
Right.
But I would want that to support already the production houses or media platforms like yourselves. I would want to be able to say, I'll go to meet Sue, who has a job and is getting paid. I would like to go to a public hospital and find a doctor who is paid. I would like to take a drive on a road that is properly done and maintained. I would like to send my child to a government school where the teacher is paid and all that is in place. But for all of that to happen, there has to be economic activities within the country. And for those economic activities to happen profitably, you've got to protect that first. Globalization is good, but it also poses serious threats to smaller economies like ours.
Okay, so how do we gradually take like small little steps that get us to that point?
I think, like I said, we are at the moment, we are engaging. We are doing consultations. Just 2-3 weeks ago, we had our colleagues from the American Embassy here in this office, and we discussed a lot of that. I'm hoping that in June, when we go to the business summit, Creative Industries Business Summit, we'll have colleagues from the Meta and Google to come through and speak to our creatives about some of those things. That is my hope, because we've expressed interest to invite. The baby steps we can take now is one, let's do the right thing now in terms of policy, in terms of consultations. Let's ask the right questions. Let's ask the right people. The idea that it's happening in this economy, it should happen to us, is fine, but it's a little basic because circumstances and conditions are different. Some of these other economies, they are probably 10 times bigger than ours. They have offices, like I'll give an example. Meta has an office, a regional office in South Africa. They have a regional office in East Africa. So there is that level of accountability, but also being able to feed back in the economy. So I think for me is what we're doing now, consultation processes are very active, but also let's grow gradually. We will get there. It may not be tomorrow, but we'll get there, and when we get there, there won't be any regrets.
Okay, so let's talk about the wrapping up of 2024.
Yes.
As a ministry, there's so many things that had happened. So
Yes.
the third edition of the National Arts Festival, you also
Were you
had...
there?
I came for one.
You were around
When I did bomba.
you still go bomba. No.
Well, you know, yeah, 2025, we shall
Posen
be there.
kama,
We
posen
shall
kama,
be there.
posen
Also,
kama.
we had the Ngoma Awards.
Yes.
So many things that had happened this year. And also what you decided to do is that this year, you decided to have the Ngoma Awards, or last year rather, the Ngoma Awards in a way that we had never seen. So you honored a lot of people that have contributed to the growth of the sector.
Yes.
So one, I want to talk about the intentionality that went into taking that route, and also just policies that were developed 2024, we're flowing into 2025. What should we look forward to in terms of the growth of the creative sector?
Perfect. So for the Ngoma, I'll mention, maybe let me start with the National Arts Festival. So the National Arts Festival, that was the third edition of the National Arts Festival, but that was the biggest, I think, marking our growth, right? What the mind is, from government perspective, with the National Arts Festival, is that we would like to create platforms. Again, these are platforms that we feel needs to be in place for us to expose a lot of our creativity to our people. We would want to create demand for our artistic products. And these artistic products, you can't find them on a daily basis. So we deliberately introduced that particular festival to celebrate our art, our creativity, but also to create a platform for awareness raising. So once you come through the festival, you interact with a lot of creativity and awareness. We're hoping that it will create or generate demand. So tomorrow you know what exactly to ask for when you want to see art and experience art. Secondly, I think what you saw at the festival was the connection, the interconnectedness between art and the mainstream economic players. So we had a lot of other corporate entities that came through to support the festival, but also to partner with artists. So that's what we would like to grow. That's what we would like to promote, the interconnectedness of the mainstream economic systems with the creatives, because like I said, we view the creative sector as an economic sector, but it can't exist alone. So we need to plug the two. And that's what the festival was speaking to. Last year, we also had the Creative Industries Business Summit. And this year, we're hoping that we'll have a bigger one this year. The idea, again, was to connect the two economic sectors, the mainstream economic systems as we know them, but also even the creative sector. We want to formalize it, we want to structure it, but to do that sustainably is to link it to the mainstream economic systems, and we did that. The Ngoma Award, the mindset on the Ngoma Award was, this is 60 years of Zambia's independence. And it's difficult for you to continue when you don't know or can't remember where you're coming from. So we needed to be able to celebrate those that contributed to the development of arts within the country. So then we know exactly where we are coming from. We had, I think the gentleman that got recognized for the contributions he made for the music industry was a gentleman that was the first ZAM president. And after the Ngoma, I came through and shared the journey and what led to them formulating Zambia Union of Musicians, which became ZAM. And those are stories that we would like to tell, so that tomorrow when there is a challenge, there's a point of reference, there's a need for you to consult and engage and say, why did we have this in the first place? It's difficult for us to pursue the future if we cannot define our past. And I think for the arts that we were trying to do, we recognize those that played critical roles in the establishment and development of our arts. And we know there's so many editions of the Ngoma where we competitively recognize and award artists. But I think there's only one time that we'll have 60 years of independence.
Nice. And as we quickly get to wrap up, Director and I have a lot of things to ask. Okay, so
thank you, Director.
No, I do have a lot of things to ask. So quickly, just very quickly, I know that the cry for a lot of creators, and I know that you mentioned sectors or offices rather that exist under the ministry, such as ZAMCOPS, you have ZAM, and all of these help support the creative space, mainly the artists, right? So now, recently, we've seen artists who've been very vocal about thinking these smaller entities are not really doing anything to help them. So how do you make sure that they're doing the right deliverables and making sure that the job is being done to assist the artist, because I understand that your office can only do so much, but cannot primarily monitor to say, if you've given a directive and the report comes back, sometimes that is what you ride with. So there's artists who've actively spoken about how those smaller offices are not really helping them.
So first of all, I think it must be understood that ZAM and ZASO and all these collection societies are not under this ministry directly. They are under the Ministry of Commerce, but we do interact closely. Again, it must also be understood that these are organizations that have been formulated by creatives themselves. Our wish as government is that the creatives, when they are not happy with the functionality of a particular institution that they've established themselves, I think it is within their powers to improve that, to respond to that and address the challenges. I would be happy to be a dictator once and just say, hey, this one, close, this one, close, this one, close. But that wouldn't be helpful. What we would like to see as government is a situation where, if, for example, if musicians have challenges with ZAM, they need to get to a place where they sit down and understand what the challenges are. I have had meetings with ZAM, I've had meetings with ZASO, I've had meetings with all these even regional bodies in the collection society. And they've shared their position. And as an artist myself, but also interacting with other artists, you get to understand that they are actually solid challenges. And some of these solid challenges can be addressed when colleagues sit down and listen to each other. As to whether they are not doing their job, as an artist, I think that we need to sit down and listen and talk.
Are you laughing?
As a permanent secretary in the sector, I think that we need to sit down and talk. The big problem that is there is that musicians, artists do not know exactly what the problem is. And the people in these offices assume that they know and understand. So everybody is moving with the assumption. But if we get these two parties to sit and agree, then it will be helpful, because then there are people that are within the creative producing space that could be resourceful and helpful to the societies, right? But the societies need to create this environment where they sit down and listen to each other.
Okay, so I understand if things are not grand, but I want to talk about the synonym, Pilato. I know the acronym rather. It meant something else when you were an active artist. Does it still mean the same
What
thing?
do you mean?
Does it still have the same
Yes,
meaning, or
it
has
does.
it changed?
It does. It does. How can it not?
It can change.
To try to what?
I don't know. Political something. I don't know. It could change to something else.
No, it hasn't changed yet. When changing, I think we'll have a very big event
to change it.
To mark the change. Yeah, but I think it's not changed. It's not changed. People in Liquor Arena are taking over. Basically, this is the start of taking over. So we hope that more people from the creative sector can then begin to take over churches. They can take over markets, take over stuff.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, and I know the year 2025 started off on a very sad note.
Very, very
Looking
sad.
at the fact that you shared a strong bond with the late Dandy Crazy. He was your friend before anything else. How was that for you? Like, how did you deal with that, and how are you doing?
I'll tell you, if I dealt with it, I think I would be lying to you. I think it's a reality that never happened to me. I still do not think and believe that we lost King Dandy. And it's during conversations like this, and like you striking it and said, no, he's no more. And that's what happens with loss like that. You know, when somebody's in hospital for some illness of some sort, you slowly begin to accept that they are not part of your daily activity. But then when it happens like that, you're somehow thinking that maybe at that 10, I'm going to bump into him. You know, like, or somebody's going to tell you, oh, wake up, you're late. You know, something like that. I think it's something that's going to take some time for me, but I think also for many of us, because it's not a loss that we could easily imagine. And I do want to pass my condolences to the family.
Yeah.
And it's a very big loss, and that is why I think as government we had to respond, because it's a loss that we knew that would impact society, would impact families and friends, and not so many people would have prepared themselves for such a loss.
Yeah, no, very true. But also you decided to remind us and take us back to the days of Pilato. How was it performing after a while?
I think it was good. I may have lost some dance moves, but I think if I was to start racing, I think I would catch up.
You would catch up.
Yeah, but I think it was exciting. It was exciting, and I missed performing or standing in front of drunk people.
Yeah.
I think that's super powerful. Being in this office, you get used to standing before sober people analyzing everything and getting serious with life, which is very hectic.
Did you ever make like a mistake in the beginning, like where you want to crack a
No,
joke?
but I tell them that you guys, I'm used to standing in front of drunk people, excited people, happy people, people with problems, but they're happy.
Yeah.
And when I stand in front of you with the microphone, the biggest temptation is to start dancing. So if you see any of those dancing, don't take it too personal. Yeah, but I've been able to say that. Okay. Yeah, it was exciting.
It was great to see you on stage. One last question as we get to wrap up. One of your most controversial songs is not on your YouTube channel. Why?
Which one is it? It should be. Why is it not
there?
On my channel? No, I didn't put it there myself. But so I'll tell you what I do with my music, and what I used to do with my music is so most of my music I'd registered them through South African publisher, and so most of those were managed, distributed, and published by that particular company called Shia Publishers. So those that were not under that particular agreement, they are those that I could post myself. But most of them, if you go on my Facebook, you won't even find Kosa Mumport or any of those songs. Because they then decided, they figured out how the distribution was going to happen, how the publicity was going to happen. I wish I could share more on that, but as an artist myself, I knew my limitations, and luckily I had friends that could easily help out. And I did distribute my music through that.
Okay, so your music also, last question. No, but it did spark conversation and also like invoke change in a way, just through the works that you did as an activist and also on the commentary that you made. So right now, obviously you're a very staunch believer in how music can actually impact life and impact change. Who is that person that is very youthful right now and is able to do that, which maybe you did and maybe even more?
I think there are a lot of them. You know, some of these things you're not taught. Some of these things you grow in the conviction. You grow in the awareness. I think we have a lot of brilliant minds that are in the creative sector, not just musicians, but across. And I think there are many.
Okay, P.S., thank you so much for having us in your office. It was lovely. It was lovely being here. Awe shideseka. Awe ndemisekera.
Usapota wankana.
Support wankana. No, but you know what? It was nice having us here, and also as an entity, we're glad that you opened your office to us to just come.
No, but I mean, so thank you very much for extending the opportunity for us to interact. And I think as an artist, I think this is what I miss sometimes. But also it's important for us to share what government is doing through platforms like yourselves. In terms of policy, I think I forgot to mention that last year we launched the first ever national arts policy. and the revised national film policy, which is very important. So it's platforms like this that we're able to reach out to people and share what government is doing. So thank you very much for extending the opportunity.
The policies he's talking about are very accessible publicly. You can go,
everywhere and
read
anywhere.
through, page your ministry, you're able to access all of those policies.
Yes.
So that certain questions are not asked, because I think, and I think you've said this before, like we really, I heard that. He said, if you want to hide things from us, just put it in a book. But thank you so much, for having
I have Zambian authors here, so just in case you want to.
I don't say I'm Zambian.
Thank you.
I'm Osman Penga.
This one, don't announce it.
Why not?
No, it's not necessary. Okay, yeah. But,
Okay, so to end the show, again, we have to end with a song that is going to be one that you choose.
Okay.
And I know earlier that you did say that you're such a huge fan of the music that Tilo creates.
yeah, no, I'm a fan of so many, but I think Tilo and Ichinga for me is, like I've told him a million times that this one, If God could give me a good voice for one time, I would steal this song from him. So it's Shinka. That's a brilliant song. So that one.
I thought you were gonna finish the song. Just so we're reminded. Thank you so much. P.S. Fumbachama, aka.
No. The problem is that you want to look nice while saying it.
No,
you've got to sacrifice something. Something must go.
Something must give.
Even if you look like you're Pilato, just something like that.
He was my guest today, and also we had a very enlightening chat, but the conversation continues on our social media platforms. Power TV Zambia. Thank you so much to him and the ministry for accommodating us today. We're ending the show with Tilo, with Ichinga. Which one was in Ishan? Easy.
Nishimama big man.